Hello and welcome to this bonus episode of the Gazette's Hockey Inside Out Show. I'm Stu Cowan of the Gazette, joined by my regular partners here, former Canadiens teammates and 1986 Stanley Cup champs, Chris Nilan and Rick Green. Knuckles, this question's about penalties. So as the Canadiens all-time penalty minutes leader, let's start with you. The Canadiens have the 7th most penalty minutes in the NHL. Do you think they take too many needless penalties? Is it a lack of discipline or carelessness? How do you explain that?
Well, I think some of it has to do with the system they play in their own end of the rink. You know, I think that's where probably the majority of them are, as opposed to in the offensive zone. You know, that man-on-man stuff, boy, when you get behind someone or someone beats you, there's a hook or a hold. I'd like to see the breakdown, penalties in the defensive zone and penalties in the offensive zone with this team. We got to get our statistician to look that up. But I think a lot has to do with that. You know, the defensive zone coverage, losing guys, having a hook, having a hold, tug on a guy. And, you know, this is a team that should be drawing a lot more penalties than they're taking. And, you know, that's certainly a concern when the penalty kill has, you know, not been the best. And it could be better, but I think, they got to cut that back. I don't know if it's undisciplined. I just think guys get in a position where, you know, that one-on-one play, if they get beat, they end up on the weak side. They end up they end up desperate, and they try and compensate for that, and it ends up in penalty.
What do you think, Rick?
Yeah, I agree with Nux. The man-on-man is like, okay, this is my guy. I have to win this battle with him, and if I don't, and he gets on the offensive side, I've got to find a way to get to him, and that means, as we see the way the referees are so strict when it comes to putting a stick on a guy or reaching out with your hand, they're going to call you on that, and they have to fine tune that to the point where they better be ready to battle. They better be ready to win the battles. And if not, don't try and hook and hold, even though it's easier said than done. When you let your guy go, then it ends up with a breakdown and somebody else is going to have to jump in there to cover up for you, and all hell breaks loose. So I think it's really important for them to really bear down on their ability to, you don't have to necessarily win the battles one-on-one, but if you have to take a tie, you take a tie, but don't let the opposition get on the offensive side of you, because you're going to end up taking a penalty from hooking or holding. And I see that more often than not in the defensive zone. This is the area where they're getting hurt by it versus the offensive zone.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, Knuckles, you lead the Canadiens' career penalty minutes, 3,043. That's 9th, actually, in the NHL. Dave Tiger-Williams is 1st, Dale Hunter 2nd, Ty Domi 3rd, Marty McSorley 4th, Bob Probert 5th, Rob Ray 6th, Craig Berube 7th, Tim Hunter 8th, and then Chris Nilan 9th. Knuckles, did you ever have a coach get on your case about too many penalty minutes?
Not a whole lot. Listen, if the stats say that I'm the most penalized player per game, the number of games I have, which is awesome. That really did a lot for me in my life. But, you know, did I ever have a coach? I had a coach in Jacques Lemaire that told me I fought too much, that you can play hockey. You know, you get room out there that other guys don't get. Use it, you know. And he really helped me with that. But, you know, I kind of didn't listen to him, because I said, listen, you know, growing up in Boston, I watched the Bruins. When guys stopped fighting, when guys stopped doing that job, they were closer to the exit. And, you know, that was something that, legitimate fear in me, that I didn't want somebody else to come in and take my job. I had to keep doing my job to keep that job. So, yeah, that was it. But, you know, I did take some stupid penalties, and I did some stupid things that cost my team at times. You know, we had great penalty killers and great goaltending. I get that. And I probably had a little more leeway, certainly a whole lot more than Abba had. has. And, you know, there were times I cost my team doing stupid stuff. And, you know, sometimes the emotions with me got to the point where, you know, I just didn't give a shit. And I got to take care of this. And like I said, it cost my team at times, but I think more often than not, I helped my team in that area than I cost them.
Well, Rick, sorry, go ahead, Rick.
I was just going to say I don't disagree that when the wires touched, you did some stupid things, and then it was back out to try and kill the penalty and all that fun stuff with Knuckles in the box again. But as much as I don't compliment him that often, I do have to compliment him from the fact that he had a real good understanding what he needed to do, when he needed to do it, to find a way for the team to either wake up or let the opposition know that we're no pushovers, and that Knucklehead was going to make sure that you were held accountable if you did some kind of dumbness to any one of our players. And guess who was there breathing down their neck? And if he wasn't breathing down their neck, he'd be throwing a puck at them in the penalty box.
Who was that you threw the puck at in the penalty box?
Paul Maxa.
Well,
10
Rick,
stitches, cut him right open, right off the top of his head. I'd be banned from the league today if Bettman would have. I'd be in jail.
Well, Rick, you spent a lot of time on the ice killing off Chris's penalties. You obviously want to kill off every penalty, but when Knuckles was in the box, was there almost a little bit more of a desire, or like, we got to kill this off for Knuckles?
Well, you know, it's so important to be good in special teams, and that was an area that I took a lot of pride in, whether it's blocking shots or just making sure that physically move guys from in front of the net. And it didn't matter who was, you know, in the box. It made a difference in the game, obviously, by giving up a goal against on the power play. And we had a good group of guys that, first of all, they were committed to the face-off circle, to blocking shots, to making sure that all rebounds were cleared. The goalie at the time was able to see the first shot, and we take care of the rest. And we just had a lot of guys that were committed to make the difference no matter who was in the box. And ultimately, it allowed us more wins than losses. And a great group of guys that were really dedicated to make the difference when they were put on the ice.
Yeah, think about that PK, you know, like Larry, Greeny, Chelly, Ludwig. Hello. You
Those
know,
shin pads.
then Bob and Cabo up front. I think, who else? Screwy, Spud McPhee. We had great PK. And then if there was breakdowns, certainly Patrick was in net.
Well, with the Canadiens, I mean, they rank, I think, in the top 10 in penalty minutes taking, and they rank near the bottom of the league in penalty killing. So that's obviously not a good combination. And if they do indeed get into the playoffs, I think the PK could be a real problem. Anyway, that's it for this bonus episode. I hope you all enjoyed it out there. We'll have one more bonus episode coming up over the next few days. You can look for that. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the Hockey Inside Out YouTube channel. Also, in case you didn't know, Hockey Inside Out is also available now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, so you can watch us there also.